Good morning. Hi, everyone. It is Tuesday. Sorry, no, it's Wednesday. Well, it's Tuesday night for you. It's Wednesday for me. And this is the first arts day. So the topic today is art. And so I've been thinking about like daily routines. And I thought I would talk about that today because doing these daily lives has been interesting. And I thought it would be really daunting. It is really daunting. But it's also really nice to have the structure. So I am really interested to hear from you all. What are like daily artistic routines that you do? Like some things that you do every day or 5 days a week. Do you do things at the same time every day? Um, how much time do you spend on those routines? And then I want to share a little bit of the rabbit hole that I've been going down as I prepared for today. So, um, so the first thing I would share is some of the daily things I've tried to do and didn't really succeed at doing daily, but they are still good exercises. One is like I have a little drawing book, and I just have my little like my pen pack. And I came here to China with very limited luggage. I came with a carry-on only. So to bring these two things took up very precious real estate, but they were important to me. Um, and so, and this kind of was inspired by like Zentangle, where you have just a small um, card and you kind of have this limited space, and you start out by drawing a line without lifting your pen from the paper, and then you go back in and you add your designs. And I think like having that kind of framework, um, it's good for the ADHD brain to not be able to go too crazy. But I don't really do Zentangle. I just kind of draw something. Sometimes I add like a quote, and a lot of times it doesn't make any sense. I just think they're funny. So um like here's one. This is from March of 2024. A random drawing, and then the saying is, "The road divides, splinters mix with mud. You are the rainbow. I am grateful." I was in a poetic mode here. I was at Buddha Center when I was writing these. Footsteps underwater create no dust. Deep. This one is really not even a drawing, but it says, "Alligators fly and sprout wings. We worship the dragon." Okay, but so but then if I like, going ahead, like sometimes I add color. And then sometimes I just like I do a drawing and then I give it a title. So like this one, I don't know what you guys would title that. I titled it Popeye. And I did that when I was in Tokyo on July 20th, this last year. Um, Here's one I just did. I did this one just this past week, and I titled it Simplicity. So yeah. Um, And so I do these now. I don't do them daily, obviously, um, but I do them a lot of times when I'm traveling, and I'll do them like on the train. I love taking trains, and so I'll do them on the train. And sometimes I leave them. I like stick them in the window or something for the next person to find. And then sometimes I keep them and I give them to someone as a gift, or I write a little note on them or something. Um, But I do think that, like, having that as a morning routine, I've always thought I would like to have that as a morning routine, kind of like writing a poem every day or doing a little drawing, a sketch every day. I think that would be a good idea. Had a hard time making that happen. So, but the rabbit hole that I kind of went down this morning is I found this quote, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. And I was looking for the quote that was something like, anything worth doing is worth doing every day, but I couldn't find that quote. And I think the quote I was looking for, it was something like, anything worth doing is worth doing every day or doing only once and never again. Like, I have this quote in my head. I don't know. I couldn't find it. I don't know if anyone else has heard that quote. But anyway, I found this one, which I also love. And it reminds me of my friend Shady, who would teach classes on doing bad art and, like, kind of this emphasis of just create, like, just create and don't worry, don't judge, don't censor, just create. And um and also I just think for me right now, I'm doing YouTube lives and I'm learning as I go, and thank you for being here. Thank you for your understanding and patience. But I think that part of the doing of it is the point, right? It's just doing it every day. And I am learning, like, trying to think about how to structure and how to um prepare, like, obviously, like, trying to do the photos and videos has kind of been not so great. I don't know. Like, I think I I watch my friend Bloom's lives, and she does lots of demonstrations, and I think that works really well. And she's such a great presenter anyway, but she's a lot more skilled and experienced than I am. And but I think that also that format, doing a demonstration, is maybe a better way to do things for lives. Um, but whatever it is, I'm learning, and so that quote was relevant for me. And then, because I always wanna know who said stuff, like, I wanna be careful that I'm not quoting somebody that, you know, I don't know, represents things that I don't want to promote, represents, ideas or beliefs or whatever, and it can be difficult sometimes. Like, you find people and then you find out, like, their history, and you're like, "Darn it. I really liked that, but, not so much anymore." Anyway, so I was like, "Who said this?" And it turns out it's this really fascinating man named GK Chesterton. And I knew nothing about him, but I am enthralled now to learn more, and I thought I would just share a kind of funny information about him and see if you all are inspired as well. And then I'm actually, yeah, so when you first, let me just share. Let's see. Who is this guy and why haven't I heard of him? Is the name of it. Yeah, here it is. So who is this guy and why haven't I heard of him? And this is the person who's, like, in charge of the GK Chesterton, organization. And so he's very, like, humble, and he says, um, GK Chesterton was the best writer of the 20th century. He said something about everything, and he said it better than anybody else. Just, he was the reason he was the greatest writer of the 20th century was because he was also the greatest thinker of the 20th century. So, um, but then it goes into some of his accomplishments and his influence. So, um, he wrote lots of all these different topics. Um, he was a Christian apologist. He stood 6 foot 4 inches, weighed about 300 pounds, usually had a cigar in his mouth, and walked around wearing a cape and a crumpled hat, tiny glasses pinched to the end of his nose, sword stick in hand, laughter blowing through his mustache. I mean, that is just so much to work with there. I love it. Um, in one famous anecdote, oh, he usually had no idea where or when his next appointment was. He did much of his writing in train stations, since he usually missed the train he was supposed to catch. In one famous anecdote, he wired his wife, saying, "Am at market Harborough, where ought I to be?" His wife attended to all the details of his life, lucky man, since he continually proved he had no way of doing it himself. Um, so so this absent-minded, overgrown elf of a man who laughed at his own jokes and amused children at birthday parties by catching buns in his mouth. Okay, this is some of the things he did. He wrote the book called The Everlasting Man, which led C.S. Lewis to become a Christian. He wrote The Napoleon of Notting Hill, which inspired Michael Collins to lead a movement for Irish independence. He wrote an essay in the Illustrated London News that inspired Mohandas Gandhi to lead a movement in British colonial rule in India. He was commissioned to write a book on St. Thomas Aquinas, checked out some books from the library, opened the top books, thumbed through it, closed it, and then dictated a book on St. Thomas that was reputed to be the best book ever written on St. Thomas. Nothing short of a genius can account for such an achievement. Da, 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 da. He debated many of the intellectuals of his time: George Bernard Shaw, H.G. Wells, Bertrand Russell, Clarence Darrow. He usually emerged as the winner of these contests. However, the world has immortalized his opponents and forgotten him. And now we hear only one side of the argument. The world is not thankful enough for Chesterton, according to George Bernard Shaw. His writing has been praised by all of these authors. So um, he also, and I want to read more about him because he also writes about he was arguing against both socialism and capitalism and showed why they have both been enemies of freedom and justice in modern society. And I think that that's very interesting to me, like as someone who's now living in a different system here in China than where I grew up in the United States. And certainly I have questions about the system of the United States, and but I don't know what the alternative is. I don't have I don't have enough information yet to have a educated opinion. So I'm interested to read more about that. Um, he defended the common man and common sense. He defended the poor, he defended the family, he defended beauty, defended Christianity and the Catholic faith. Um, and you know, the world prefers writers who are snobs and whatever. This is the again, but I like the last line. He doesn't just perform the wonder, or the last few lines. He doesn't. Let's see. Let's start with thoroughly reading Chesterton is a complete education in itself. Chesterton is indeed a teacher and the best kind. He doesn't merely astonish you. He doesn't just perform the wonder of making you think. He goes beyond that. He makes you laugh. So I love that. So I think like um, if I think of art for me, if I think of the things that I want to see and experience in art, or the things that I aspire to create and what I aspire to create with my art, I do believe that art should teach. It should move the mind, it should open the mind, it should affect the mind in some way. It's not just meant to be beautiful. Art is meant to be provocative, to be provoking. But I do think it's also meant to make us laugh. I think that's part of the point of it, is that it can sometimes help us look at something that's difficult, move our mind in a way that might be hard to move our mind, but might help that movement happen in a surprising way, in a way of wonder, in a way of fun, in a way of laughter, in a way of beauty. So yeah. And I like to meet people like this, historical people, um, because I need them. I need to be connected to um, these through time, through these other artists and writers and thinkers. It's something I need now, and I'm so grateful that we have a way to connect with them. Like I can find this by going to a website and reading about Chesterton very quickly to this morning, and that's really cool. Very lucky. That's something we can do now, and then I can use this things that I'm learning about him to play with my art. So if you would like to spend a little moment with me, I thought what I might do, because I wanted to do this anyway, is just take a little bit of Chesterton into Suno and create a little song this morning. And that is one of the things I was thinking about is maybe I should challenge myself to do a song every day. I don't know, maybe again, I don't know. I'm inspired by Kelly Bosch, so inspired. She's incredible artist and she produces so much art and it's so high quality and it's so uniquely her. And, you know, I don't know how she does it. She does it on top of having a full-time job. Like she's just mind blowing. Um, so, but I think part of it is she's very committed to creating her art. Sorry, I just realized that the light is really bad. Just trying to like see if there's a different way to maybe go see different. I don't know. Um, and so, I think she's very committed to creating her art consistently. I would love to know what her daily routine is. Um, Kelly Bosch, if you watch this, let me know. No. Um, so yeah. But anyway, Suno is something I love. It's something that I can do relatively quickly. It's nothing. It's like AI. There can be quick, and then there can be good, and they're not necessarily the same, at least for me. But I thought we could give it a try. So what I did is I went into um, more into this website, and I just kind of found a quote that I liked to work with. And the quote, let me see, let me pull this out so that I can share with you guys. Um, the quote was, it's from a book or an article that's called um, Running After My Hat. Let me see. The title of the book is On Running After One's Hat, which is brilliant right there. And then the quote is, an inconvenience is only an adventure wrongly considered. An adventure is an inconvenience rightly considered. So I thought I will bring that into Suno. So let me just share this with you. Create a song. Okay, let me just make sure you can see what I'm doing. All right. So if you haven't worked in Suno before, this is a digital music creation platform, and I think it's quite intuitive, quite easy to use, and it's fun. So here's simple, and then there's custom. Custom is where you add your own lyrics. So I put in his poem, but I kind of changed it a little bit to make it a little more rhythmic, and yeah, just to kind of give it Suno a little bit more to work with here. So if I put it in too straightforward, it ends up being kind of a boring song. So I like to break it up a bit. So I did, I'm running after my hat, running after my hat. How about that? There goes my hat. I'm running after my hat. An inconvenience is an adventure only if wrongly considered. An adventure is an inconvenience if you think about it right. All things considered, I am just running after my hat. My adventure is an inconvenience if I think about it right. Wait, I don't know that I got that. Let me make sure. Adventure is an inconvenience rightly considered. So it's not um, my inconvenience. This should be my inconvenience. Inconvenience is an adventure if I think about it right. An inconvenience. Wait, I did it wrong, didn't I? An inconvenience is an adventure if wrongly considered. It's an inconvenience is only an adventure wrongly considered. I screwed it up. An inconvenience is nothing more than an adventure wrongly considered. Ah, Let me see. How can I say this better? An inconvenience is inconvenient. Maybe I should just put in the actual quote, huh? Let's see. Let me put in the actual quote. Let's start there. All right. That's what I get for trying to be too poetic here. Okay, let's put this in. Okay. An inconvenience is only an adventure wrongly considered. An adventure is an inconvenience. An adventure is an inconvenience, rightly considered. Okay, inconvenience is an adventure if you think about it right. Adventure is an inconvenience if you think about it wrong. Not very poetic. It's only an adventure wrongly considered. There we go. My inconvenience is an adventure if I think about it right. Okay, that's the right idea. Let me go back up here. Okay, so let's just leave it like let's do it that now. I had run it before, but I think I'm going to try it again with these new lyrics. Should only take a second. It is kind of fun that it happens so quickly. So there it comes. Oh, cute little picture too. Mm. All right, Chesterton. I think that also the thing I appreciate about Chesterton when I read about him is I get the feeling he would think this is really funny based on like what they said about him. I think that he would love this stuff. So I think he would think it's funny. So I'm trying to be respectful. If I feel like somebody wouldn't want me to play around with their poems, I wouldn't do it, but I feel like he wouldn't mind. All right, so let's see now. Oh, you know what I need to do is make sure you can hear it. Ah, I'm not sure. Oh shoot. I don't know if I put my headphones down, maybe. Oh gosh. Okay, well, let me try putting my headphones down.
I'm running after my hat. Running after my hat. How about that? There goes my... I'm running after my hat. Running after my hat. How about that? There goes my hat. I'm running after my hat. An inconvenience is only an adventure wrongly considered. An adventure is an inconvenience rightly considered. My inconvenience is an adventure. think about it right. All things considered, I am just running after my hat. My inconvenience is an adventure if I think about it right. I'm running after my hat. Running after my hat. How about that? There goes my hat. I'm running after my hat. I'm running